What's up, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing we have to talk about today is it has finally happened. The FCC, in a 3-2 vote, voted to kill net neutrality. And watching it happen so casually on C-SPAN 3, I was infuriated.
With that, we will call the vote. Commissioner Clyburn.
I dissent.
Commissioner O'Reilly.
Aye.
Commissioner Carr.
Aye.
Commissioner Rosenworcel.
I dissent.
The chair votes aye. The item is adopted with editorial privileges granted as requested.
Ajit Pai walking what, in my opinion, is a horrible decision across the finish line, despite everything showing the American people do not want this. I can't fully tell if he is just ignorant or he is trolling at this point. You might have even seen his smug-ass video where he says, like, 7 things you can do after net neutrality. And it's just him being, I guess the scientific term would be a fuckboy, playing with a fidget spinner and doing the Harlem Shake. Despite what some anti-commenters have been saying online, who speak really loud so it must be true, or speak really fast so they must be smart. Despite them seemingly getting their rocks off to be so anti, most Americans still realize net neutrality is a very, very important thing. It's something we need moving forward based off of what we've seen very large companies try to do in the past, and also because of what we've seen massive corporations do in other countries in parallel industries. Yes, there are other problems with the internet which actually make net neutrality even more important. Specifically, I'm talking about the lack of options in your area for ISPs. It's like if you're on a cliff and you're trying to get better footing on the cliff, you don't first hurl yourself off the cliff. And your mindset is, we'll figure out how to get both feet back on the ground over here. Now, like I said, the vote was 3-2, and the dissenting votes were very passionate.
I dissent from this rash decision to roll back net neutrality rules. I dissent from the corrupt process that has brought us to this point. And I dissent from the contempt this agency has shown our citizens in pursuing this path today. This decision puts the Federal Communications Commission on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of the law, and the wrong side of the American public.
But what saddens me the most today is that the agency that is supposed to protect you is actually abandoning you. But what I am pleased to be able to say today is that the fight to save net neutrality does not end today. The agency does not have the final word. Thank goodness for that. And as I close my eulogy of the 2015 net neutrality rules, carefully crafted rules that actually struck an appropriate balance in providing consumer protections and enabling opportunities and investment, I actually take what I'll just call ironic comfort in the words of then Commissioner Pai back in 2015, because I believe this will ring true about this destroying internet freedom order. I am optimistic, he said, that we will look back on today's vote as an aberration, a temporary deviation from the bipartisan path that has served us so well. I don't know whether this plan will be vacated by a court, reversed by Congress, or overturned by a future commission, but I do believe that its days are numbered. Amen to that, Mr. Chairman. Amen to that.
And if you need me to paraphrase that last part, it was go fuck yourself, Pai. And also what Commissioner Clyburn said is true. The fight is not over. A lot of people asked me why I didn't talk about the story yesterday, and that was because I knew that this was going to pass. It was going to be a 3-2 vote. And now is the moment people need to realize this is happening. If you do not want this to happen, you need to make yourself known and take a step forward. The first thing to do is to contact your congressman. If you want an easy way to find out who exactly you should be calling, what maybe you should be saying, what's the number? I'll include links down below that will get you to the right place, or you can even just text BATTLE to 384-387, contact your congressman and let them know you want net neutrality. We need Congress to use the Congressional Review Act to pass a resolution of disapproval. This allows Congress to overrule any regulations enacted by federal agencies. Contact your congressperson and let them know what you want. Yes, the GOP has control of both House and Senate, but people are not divided completely on party lines, which is also a weird thing to say because in recent polling, 3 3 out of 4 Republican voters said they were actually against the repeal of net neutrality. And so it's wild to me how many Republicans are for it, but there are several Republicans that have spoken out against this move. And in fact, even Senator Ed Markey has already tweeted, "I plan to introduce a Congressional Review Act resolution that would restore the open internet order and reverse the FCC's historic mistake of repealing net neutrality. This fight is far from over." So push, 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 let them know. And if they get enough calls, maybe they'll listen because they'll realize, oh shit, not only do I want to do what the people want, but I also want to be reelected. Those damn elections are always just around the corner. Another thing we're most likely also going to see are lawsuits. Reportedly, both the Electronic Frontier Foundation and Free Press are prepared to sue. The legal director of the Electronic Frontier Foundation saying the legal challenge would likely be based on the Administrative Procedures Act, pointing to the FCC's willful refusal to acknowledge both the economic and technical evidence and also the numerous flaws in the commenting process. And that commenting process was also a very big deal. There were a ton of fake comments, many from bots. There were reports coming out saying 2 million of the comments were from stolen identities. Some saying 500,000 comments from Russia. Also, potentially, we might see local and state governments fight against this. But even with that said, the FCC has stated they plan to preempt state laws. So while the situation looks dark, actually, it doesn't just look dark, it is dark. Please start calling, mailing, tweeting at your representative. The only day the internet becomes completely ruined is the day that people no longer fight for it to be free and open. I know it can feel like the calling, the messaging, it's not going to accomplish something. It is the far most effective thing you can do. And the next best thing you could do would be to see where your representative falls and then vote accordingly when their seat is up for grabs. And if there's a final note I can make on this story is don't let them steal this from you. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome brought to you by Audible. If you haven't heard already, I teamed up with Audible for our official DeFranco book club. We go through a book once a month, and whether you want to join that or you just want a free audiobook, just go to audible.com/PhillyD, you sign up, you get a 30-day trial membership. Along with that, you get a free audiobook. You can actually also do a text sign up now. Just text PhillyD to 500-500, you get started from there right on your phone. And this month, we're going to be going through Turtles All the Way Down, of course, by John Green, the same man who wrote The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, popularized the word doobly-doo. So if you want to just consume it with us, you know the way. And if you actually want to film a review, your thoughts on the book, go to DeFrancoBookClub.com. You might make it into the DeFranco Book Club video, and there you have it. And the first bit of awesome is we got a badass slow-mo video from the Slow-Mo guys. Just a 4-ton wrecking ball in slow motion. Sometimes the simpler the better. Then we got an episode of Hot Ones with Casey Neistat. Then if you want to watch a kind of interesting, fun video, we've got a very loose history of skateboard shapes. We've got John Boyega going undercover on Reddit. We've got the honest trailer for Star Wars Battlefront 2. We also got some stand-up from Jabuki Young White. He was just on Fallon. I've never heard of him before. I'm on board. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. Then in huge entertainment news, let's talk about the Walt Disney Company acquiring 21st Century Fox asterisk after the spinoff of several businesses for $52.4 billion. And what they'd be acquiring are the film and television studios, cable entertainment networks, international TV businesses. That also means that Disney takes control of movies from 20th Century Fox, Fox Searchlight Pictures, Fox 2000, things like Avatar, X-Men, Deadpool, Grand Budapest Hotel, Hidden Figures, The Shape of Water, etc., etc., you get it. And on the TV side, they'll get things like 20th Century Fox Television, FX Productions, Fox 21. Disney will now control FX Networks, National Geographic Partners, Fox Sports Regional Networks. And one of the biggest issues people are bringing up is that this Disney takeover means that Hulu is most likely either going to massively change or die. Hulu is split up pretty damn evenly, but now Fox's Hulu shares will now be given to Disney. So that means now they're running the show, they have the majority. So the question becomes, where exactly does Hulu fit? Because Disney has announced they want to launch their own streaming service. So people are wondering, okay, well, is that streaming service then just them moving everything to Hulu? Also, what about on the opposite end, the minority holders of Hulu? Are they going to then go, we don't want to feed their thing, let's pull our content and do our own thing? But what we do know is from the announcement, the Walt Disney Company says that they plan to use Hulu as an asset, saying this transaction will enable Disney's recently announced Disney and ESPN branded direct-to-consumer offerings, as well as Hulu, to create more appealing and engaging experiences, delivering content, entertainment, and sports to consumers around the world wherever and however they want to enjoy it. And as far as the spin-off of certain businesses, it's Fox Broadcasting Networks that would separate into its own new entity before the deal goes into place. So that would include Fox News Channel, Fox Business, FS1, FS2, and the Big Ten Network. Now, of course, with a deal of this size, it's not just done, this will take time. The deal will need to be approved by the Department of Justice, the FTC. It's expected to take at least a year. Then, and possibly the sexiest story of the day today, let's talk taxes. News came out yesterday that Republicans in the House and the Senate have reached an agreement on the tax deal. And just to bring you back up to speed, before this, there were 2 tax plans floating floating around, the House and the Senate versions. They were similar, not exact, and there seemed to be places that maybe there were major deal breakers. For example, one of the versions removed the deduction of state income taxes from your federal tax return. So let's say you make $50,000 a year, your state taxes you 10%. 10% of $50,000, $5,000, that means that you get to keep $45,000. And then you have to pay federal taxes, but instead of having to pay 20% on the same $50,000, you're only taxed 20% on the remaining $45,000, which is after paying state. Also, quick note, a lot of the ways that I'm gonna have to talk about this, they're going to be gross simplifications. I'm just trying to get you 90% there. So one of the versions of the tax plan had to remove that. This new tax plan has that provision reinstated. Some other things that have also been agreed upon: the corporate tax rate will drop from 35% to 21%. The top paying Americans will now pay 36.7% instead of 39.6%. Also, the number of people who qualify to fit into this bracket is now larger, this including people who made just below $1 million. Some of the popular tax breaks have been scaled back, such as the child deduction. Also, one of the largest changes would be on the Obamacare mandates. If the plan passes, you will no longer be required and penalized for not having health insurance. So that seems like another unified Republican effort to take another swing at the Affordable Care Act. And with where everything is right now, I would personally be shocked if they weren't able to get this through. There's a potential holdout for the Republicans who haven't already stated their position, Susan Collins. Collins doesn't prefer a lower individual tax rate. Now, with the vote being this close, the Democrats are also, of course, saying they want Doug Jones sworn in and they want to wait for the vote until Doug Jones is in office. But one, that's most likely not going to happen. And two, even if it did happen, they still wouldn't have the numbers as is. Even if Doug Jones gets in, you knock out Luther Strange, who has been holding the spot for Sessions since Sessions left. Even if Collins votes no, it's a 50-50 vote. The vice president breaks the tie, boom, it passes. And here's the thing, it still may not pass. Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee has said he will not vote for it. Marco Rubio has said he will not vote for it. And he said he's voting that way unless the child tax credit is expanded. There's also been concern that McCain might not be able to vote because he's in the hospital. But as long as he is informed as much as you can be informed on a giant plan like this, he can get a proxy vote, someone just voting on his behalf. There are concerns that Senator Thad Cochran, who just got out of the hospital, he might not be able to make it. But once again, as long as he's informed, he'll be fine. And so if everything remains as is, it ultimately comes down to what Susan Collins votes. And the thing is, if they can't push this through now as is with their numbers, the moment Doug Jones gets into that seat, it becomes immeasurably harder. But with that said, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. Just another day of a house divided. And then let's talk about Kentucky lawmaker Dan Johnson. The Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting published an expose on Monday, and it detailed a series of troubling accusations against this lawmaker, a self-proclaimed pope of his Louisville church. This 7-month investigation was comprised of more than 100 interviews, thousands of pages of public records. It alleged that Johnson was involved in a series of concerning incidents, including arson, giving false testimony. The most horrifying allegation was about sexual abuse of a 17-year-old girl. Miranda Richmond, now 21, telling reporters that this happened early hours New Year's Day in 2013, saying Johnson allegedly entered the apartment below the fellowship hall drunk, stumbling from a night at TK's pub. She said she helped him down the stairs, told him to go to bed, saying she thought he was putting an arm around her for balance until he allegedly slipped his hand up her shirt. She said she and her best friend Sarah, who's actually Johnson's daughter, hung out on the L-shaped sofa and went to sleep. But she said later that night she woke up to Johnson kneeling above her and said that he kissed her forehead, then saying he put his hands under her clothes, he groped her, he started kissing her, saying he forced his hands down her pants, underneath her underwear, penetrated her with his finger. She said she begged the pastor to stop and try to force him off quietly. He told her she'd like it. She said no, she didn't. She then says he messaged her on Facebook after he noticed she wasn't at Sunday service, with him writing, "Sarah said I was mean to Bo, you and her by telling you all to go to bed, so sorry, don't remember. I was told we all got drugged at TK's anyway, so sorry if I sounded mean. You know you were one of my favorites. Love you, sorry. Bo's did great Sunday, your future husband." To which she responded, "What you did was beyond mean, it was evil. Drugged or not, I think you know what happened that night, and that's why you're sending this message. I never thought something like that would happen to me, especially by someone like you. I looked at you as a dad, but now I sincerely hope I don't see you again. But I might try to maintain a relationship with your kids. And there is no point in responding to this message either because I don't want to talk about it ever again." Miranda also told her parents. The three of them went to police. And according to the report on this, the Louisville Metro Police Department opened an inquiry, but detectives later closed the case, citing a lack of interest or assistance from the team. But Richmond told media that she never wanted the case abandoned. And after the report became public, state leaders from both parties were calling for him to resign. But on Tuesday, he refused to resign and denied the accusations.
This allegation concerning this lady, this young girl, absolutely has no merit. There is no anything that I've heard. As a matter of fact, some of this I heard yesterday for the first time as I read this story.
He then went on to say the woman accusing him was motivated by political reasons, pointing out that she supported Hillary Clinton in 2016, that she disagrees with many of his conservative stances. He did acknowledge a Facebook message, said that was real, but said it was to apologize if he was overhanded in how he spoke to her that night. When asked why he didn't file a police report about the alleged drugging, Johnson said that he didn't want to bring accusations against a bar. And later in the press conference, he said he never entered the room where the young woman was sleeping.
Did
you enter her, details? Did you enter her room or how did you enter her room?
Never. It never did. That's the point. Is none of that ever happens.
To the girl, you said you did not remember that night. It appears as if you blacked out. How can you credibly deny these allegations when you said that you didn't remember what happened?
She was saying that I had screamed at or hollered at her or something, and I don't remember that at all. So that's my point.
So you do remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then yesterday, just before 5 p.m., Johnson posted the following message on his Facebook. The accusations from NPR are false. God and only God knows the truth. Nothing is the way they make it out to be. America will not survive this type of judge and jury fake news. Conservatives take a stand. He then writes that he loves his wife, his children, grandchildren. Then writing 9/11, 2001, New York City, World Trade Center, PTSD 24/7. 16 years is a sickness that will take my life. I cannot handle it any longer. It has won this life, but heaven is my home. Please listen closely. Only 3 things I ask you to do if you love me is 1, blame no person. Satan is the accuser, so blame the devil himself. Forgive and love everyone, especially yourself. Most importantly, love God. Yes, I love my friends. You are family. God loves all people no matter what. A thing I do want to note about this post is he mentions NPR, but reportedly NPR neither investigated this story nor aired or published it. But that said, police officials were made aware of the post. They tracked his cell phone location, and soon after, the reports started coming out that Johnson was found dead of an apparent suicide. According to the Bullitt County Coroner's Office, he died of a single gunshot wound to his head. His body was found near a bridge in Mount Washington. There's a spot called River Bottoms. The response online has been interesting. Many people sending their well wishes to the family. Mike Scholar, the president of Louisville Public Media, which actually owns Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting, releasing a statement saying they were deeply sad to hear this news, saying we grieve for his family, friends, church community, and constituents, adding our aim as always is to provide the public with fact-based, unbiased reporting and hold public officials accountable for their actions. As part of our process, we reached out to Representative Johnson numerous times over the course of the 7-month investigation. He declined requests to talk about our findings. And on the other end, you had people saying, well, if he sexually assaulted this girl, good. And what I do want to point out is at the time of his death, he was just accused. Just because someone died doesn't mean you have to act like they're a good person. But what I also want to say, without going one way or the other, it is important to remember that he was accused. While his death doesn't look good, it doesn't also confirm 100% guilt. Seems in that Facebook post there was a lot of other stuff going on. And so of course, like with every story, I want to know your thoughts on this. What's your takeaway? What are your feelings? But where I want to end a story like this is I do want to take the opportunity to say, if you are having feelings like you do want to self-harm, you're depressed, everything's not great up here, please, I implore you to use and contact people and the resources that I'm going to provide in the description down below. It is not weakness to seek professional help. It is great to have a great friend circle, but it is important to also contact and utilize people outside of that. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you like this video, you like what I try and do on the channel, you want more and you want to support, go to DeFrancoElite.com, sign up, you get early videos, exclusive live streams, exclusive mugs, and signed posters. Also remember, if you missed yesterday's Philip DeFranco show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you need something lighter, you want to see some behind the scenes footage, click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.